Okay, there we are.
Oh, no.
My music does appear to be a little loud already, so
Oh.
1 second. That is
How are we all doing today? How is everyone? How are
yeah,
you
you're
doing, Des?
barely louder than the music.
Oh.
Okay, let's try that again. Hello.
Start from the top.
Run it back. Yeah, we're world building a little bit today. We're back at it again. You're nervous to DM for the first time? It'll go great. It'll be
Yeah, you'll be fine.
chaotic, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, as soon as you get in there, as soon as you start actually running all of the stuff you've prepped, it'll be fine. You'll get into the groove of it all, and it will flow.
Look.
As someone who just DM'd for the first time very recently, yes, I 100% get where you're coming from, but once you get into it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, look, it's very rewarding. I will say that it is extremely rewarding.
100%, 100%.
As a creative output, but it can be difficult. So cool your nerves. You know, I started DMing before I even played, like straight up.
Des is a full-time DM.
So Raph, what are we doing today?
Well, today we are watching the MSI finals.
Yes, the MSI League of Legends finals. We definitely been licensed to co-stream. It's not on a second monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No,
Absolutely.
but today we're here to talk about Mantara Thea, or probably, knowing us, spend about half an hour discussing the sessions this week, and then talk about what we're actually here to world build. But yeah, we're talking about the Majorcratic state of Mantara Thea, or supposedly that is what we will be talking about. How distracted
Allegedly.
we get up to will be... Yeah, allegedly. How distracted we are will be up to us and everyone in chat, but we'll see how we go.
But Raph, we had as you said, a great time to talk about distraction. We had a game this week.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was certainly a game. I will say that. As games go, it was a game.
And look, as games go, it was one of the games that happened.
We even had a mini session.
No.
I'm sorry, my brain is a little fried from this week. So you have to forgive my lag of brain.
No, you're good.
But how are you feeling about how everything went for Calicinda this week? You kind of had some different than usual scenarios come up for him. You know, prospects of fatherhood, for example.
Look, who has time for fatherhood when you're turning insane? No, look, it was a very different, like especially the mini session put Calicinda in some strange situations. The main game, I think, for Calicinda was very much by the book, meetings and people to talk to and all that type of stuff. Which I was gonna say, in terms of the game, it was very much more of a
Truth Seeker.
backseat. Hey, Truth Seeker, how are you going? How are you today? But yeah, in terms of just the game this week, it was a cool-down session after intense combats, intense political meetings and drama and all of that. Just having some time for the party.
Yeah. You even got to talk about upgrading your keep, which is...
Yes.
I will say,
I'm looking forward
there's been some roles behind the scenes where kind of like working at just like, not even like entertaining stuff really for like stream, but like me working at like the general like, I suppose, ecosystem that is landing around ARIL and how that's kind of building up and how your advisors are doing behind the scenes without you. And honestly, they've done very well. Like, as roles have gone, there's been like a couple missed opportunities, but overall...
Okay, I'm curious what the missed opportunities were. Like, I'm interested to know what's been missed around the keep.
Sleepy... Been awake for 23 hours. Oh, nah, miss me with that.
No,
I
that
could
is
not.
Rough.
I could never.
How much of that was by choice though? Did you choose to because you just getting things done, or was it work or something else that kept you awake? That's rough though. Either way, that's rough.
What are some of the things that have been missed? So,
yeah,
there was a You did get 14 hours sleep yesterday. Nice, nice. We take those small victories. We take the dub. Okay, so there was, as you know, for example, the prospecting in your mine, there was a chance for that to go better again than it did.
All right, it still went well, but
still went well, just not top results. I believe there was just before, like, kind of for references, like how much damage could be done to RIL during the siege. Because also depending on how quick your walls could have been constructed. I know it didn't have very long at all, but there could have been like possibly less damage, which would have made the cost of upgrades a little bit lower. There also was a chance for a retainer to happen in your absence. That failed.
Okay, so a few missed opportunities there.
A few missed opportunities. Your patrol, actually, I remember you sent your Starless out on patrol, I believe it was, around the streets. They did actually miss something.
Oh, okay. What did they miss?
I'm not going to reveal because there's a chance next time you send a troop out on patrol that they can. Hey, Tegan Yvonne, thanks for the follow. We actually have a...
Oh, thank you.
Tegan, very close to a character. We have an NPC called Tegan. Very cool name.
Yeah, very
How
cool
are you
character.
today?
Good to have you here. Good to have you here.
But no, your Stronghold is like really shaping up. Overall, I would say it's always, and luck has been on its side to always be like net positive results. Bar your archers dying, obviously. That was another role that went very poorly.
Which is kind of balancing out now, getting these Corvithil archers, which would be very cool.
How creative can you get with the world building here? Well, we'll listen to suggestions as we get into it. We're always open to suggestions from chat. Hi, I'm Tegan. My pronouns are Fafer. I'm transfem creator. My morning's going very well. Hey, glad to hear it.
Yeah, glad to hear your morning's going well. Welcome to our stream.
So, there's a...
Yes. But, so yeah, and a lot of interesting things. I thought it was cool as well in the mini session, getting to know Kelsier a bit better as well.
You've told us about this book before, too, Seeker, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure.
That's cool. A record of all runs.
Oh no, you haven't. Someone else has told us about a book they always tried to add to Worlds. Or is it a bucket?
Yeah. I think that was someone else. Someone else has something similar. Yes.
Blank?
It is.
84? It is. We're going to start world building our mage-ocracy of our own homebrew setting of Quentos. We already have the kind of history of the country, so we're going to flesh out a little bit more of the general factions, guilds, and people of interest within these lands. How are you today? So, we're also talking a little bit about our mainline campaign, which happens every Monday at 12 PM GMT +1 this time, but tomorrow, where Raph is a player and has recently started upgrading his keep, and we're kind of just talking about what that's going to look like for him.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed getting to know Kelsier a bit better as well, from both the main session, but also in particular the mini session as well.
Okay.
Oh.
Are you up to solve a small rules conundrum I have as a DM, perhaps, if you have time to chat? Yeah, sure.
The book's name is Tentacles of the Insert Name World Area here, a coloured guide to helpful squirming and wriggling delights. I like that. It's a good name. It's catchy.
Let's get this rules conundrum. I have been known to settle a few rules debates in my time.
Yeah. Lay down the law.
I'm not bad at it. I've been doing this for over 3,000 hours on fucking Roll20 and been hopping through DMing since 2016. So you know what?
You've hopped through your fair share of campaigns.
Look, I've run a few, and you've been there for like almost 5 years now.
Jeez, yeah, no,
Half a
yeah,
decade,
almost
my
5 years
guy.
now.
Half a decade.
Half a decade. Fuck. I want to find the date of our first game so we can just like have an anniversary day for that. Um,
I think that wouldn't be too difficult to find if we just have to go back to the origins of our Discord messages.
yeah, scroll through all of that.
I just hit
Uh,
before a certain time, although the search feature's probably bugged still, let's be honest, at Discord.
look.
But while we wait for this rules conundrum Raph, do you want to tell us what Mantara Theor actually is? As you were one of the main pens behind it, as I gave you a good outline to work within, but a lot of
Yeah.
the birthing of the history and the individual conflicts and characters, I got you, which Raph does co-write for a lot of our setting, and me being the original author for the past since 2018, bringing Raph in recently in 2023 and end of 2022.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, full timeline of events.
yeah, tell us what Mantara Theor is. Tell us what
Yeah, look,
their shtick is.
Materathea is a place in the world. That Materathea is a majocratic state that was once part of a theocracy of Castelia, but then won its independence in a civil war that it fought against Castelia. But it is a majocratic state. Mages are in power, and whether or not it was its original intention, it has become very much mage centric in terms of its belief, in terms of the way it functions. A lot of its capacities of state and everything else, bits and pieces, are run by mages. Everything is done by mages. It is very much, if you have magical capabilities, then you're something, otherwise you're not. But yeah, I think that gives a general rundown of that type of overview of Mentarathea. In terms of the general vibe of it.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic place to live if you are a
you can cast spells, you'll do well.
Yeah, if you're a non-divine based spellcaster, you'll be great. If you're not, well, you probably wouldn't want to live there. A lot of people do, but you know, probably not their favorite place to live.
Yeah, look. So it's no great secret that we're a big fan of mages, both you and I. But history. So tell me, how did their civil war start, Raph? Why did it start?
Let me just refresh myself, just so I don't completely butcher this little segment I wrote myself. I don't want to contradict myself here. But yeah, so it essentially started because the theocracy of Castelia tried to implement some. Well, there've been a lot of tensions and bits and pieces building up over time, but a lot of it came about due to some magical restrictions and laws placed against mages that the government of Castelia tried to enforce and tried to place upon the population, which in turn led to smaller scale mage uprisings around the place, which in turn brought about crackdowns and enforcements of mages and any of their allies amongst the population, which then also brought together in the southern city of Karakin. There was already a bit of a independence feeling down there, which then kind of went off, helped by some of the mages, which then spiraled further and further down as the situation deteriorated and as Castelia aggravated the situation further, to the point where it hit full conflict between mages gathered in the southern city of Karakin and the central government in Castelia. And we do actually have a rules conundrum in chat, which I think we'll just take a second to read through right now.
So, magical darkness spell. I have a problem. Here's the scenario. Player's running up the L-shaped corridor. As he turns the corner, he sees an area covered in magical darkness. In the area, there is a still-standing goblin and a chair. I have two conflicting interpretations of darkness area status. First is, area is deemed as covered in a black cube, completely impenetrable by senses of our player. So player can't know the shape of the corridor there. The goblin and the chair, second interpretation, is that the area is only heavily obscured status applies, effectively giving player blinded status. This means player knows the shape of the corridor in magical darkness. The square in which the goblin and location of the chair, my player insists conditions do not apply. The player only sees a black wall of darkness as he makes the turn. He sees nothing. Darkness, he sees nothing. if he's blinded, he can't see anything. He would not know the shape of the corridor. He would not know the square in which the goblin is located. He can't attack something or cast something he can't see. Interpretation 1 would be my go-to. It is magical darkness unless he has devil sight or the like to get around it. Magical darkness is you cannot see through it.
Yeah, that's generally my impression of that as well.
I feel like that would be a pretty common.
I just want to read through the second part of that actually. Yeah, so areas only have
but he would never have known the shape.
Yes.
He also, very good shout from Truthseeker.
Yeah.
Nothing in the darkness spell of the like implies that it gives a blind condition. It's just 15-foot radius situation.
It's just that you can't see through it. You can't see through the darkness, and you can't illuminate it.
Yes. So it doesn't. Magical darkness does not blind.
Yes. So there is no blinded condition in this whatsoever.
What was the player trying to argue that they could do? Is that they should be able to attack the goblin at disadvantage? Technically, the only attacks you can even make while blinded, like range attacks against creatures you can't see, auto fail. Most spells state you must see the target or know that they are there. Yeah, I would heavily go with argument 1, and argument 2. I would just put down DM. No, that is not how this works. That's meta as fuck.
Like, maybe you could make an attack if you just like swing in front of you, but yeah.
Even if the area was heavily obscured, he would not know it's there.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't have that knowledge available to him beforehand, so he wouldn't know any of that.
Did he see the goblin before the magical darkness was cast? Because then there's no argument to be made he could have attacked something that he once was there. Yeah, and heavily obscured, exactly. You can only see a creature that is 5 feet away from you.
In terms of this scenario, player is running up the L-shaped corridor. As he turns the corner, he sees an area. So he didn't see that area. He ran to the area to have it, and saw it there.
Yeah, so the L-turn basically means he sees a wall of magical darkness. That is it. There is nothing else to be done. Wall of blackness. That would be it. There's nothing else to be seen. Even with heavily obscured, as Truthseeker said, you have to be 5 feet from the creature to even see it.
Yeah. So that goblin is perfectly safe, unless the player finds a way to get rid of the magical darkness. Or unless, the player just decides to cast 5 or whatever, just blanket down the corridor. See if it hits anything.
What's bothering me here is that normal darkness should then also apply the same condition for a creature without dark vision. It should. If you can't see the creature, you don't know it's there.
Yeah. If you have the knowledge that a creature might be there, then you can try and make it. But if you don't know that a creature is there, then that knowledge, regardless
if creatures
of any
have dark vision and you're indoors and there is no source of light, that is effectively no vision.
Yeah. That's a very good point as well. In terms of that, is that he would not instinctively know it's magical darkness, unless there is a reason, like he is a mage himself,
or detect magic in the light. Yeah,
or detect magic.
That is exactly how a creature without dark vision should, in theory, work. Like, are you playing on a VTT or is this theater of the mind? Because what I do on VTTs is I set, basically using the heavily obscured rules for creatures without dark vision, is I set them to have a vision of 5 feet. No, because making an attack reveals your location as per the rules of 5th edition. It breaks stealth and it will reveal your location.
Yeah. Attacks against it, if it's in the darkness, will be made disadvantage against it, but attacks could still be made.
Yeah. A creature standing still firing about, no, that would break stealth. And they would then have a location and be like, no, I know a spell or something or an arrow was fired from over here. And if they can't see it, they still can't see the fire. If they don't have dark vision and they don't have any dark vision, the area's completely blank, they can't see it. They know an arrow came from that direction.
Mm-hmm.
They may be heard close to where it is, but they would not be able to make an attack against a creature. Like, especially if you want to be really rule sticker, I think a range attack specifies attack against a creature you can see within range. Like, ranged attacks, in theory, can't be made if you're blind. Mm-hmm. I believe.
I think that's it. That sounds right. Some double check that. A blinded creature can't see and it automatically fails any ability checks that require sight. Attacks have disadvantage with blinded. Okay. Yeah. But I would say definitely in this case here, players cannot see. Unless the goblin does something like shoot a bow out of the darkness, wouldn't be able to make attacks against it.
Movement of a creature without rolling for stealth always reveals its location. Square even no. If it's invisible, they could hear noise coming from that direction, but they would not reveal its square. Squares is something we use as a mechanic. Players and characters should not be talking in terms of squares.
Mm-hmm. So as per invisible, you're impossible to see. That's
yeah. Same thing as Truth Seeker said. They'd be able to make an attack back if, like, at disadvantage, but also they, for example, like something I see a lot of players even get wrong is opportunity attacks. You have to be able to see the creature. So if you're invisible or in magical darkness, you can just run around people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is why it's always such a great combination as a warlock, being able to see through magical darkness, and then having spells allow you to cast darkness.
I mean, we had something very similar to this happen. Not like the rules debate part of it, but when we did the Into a Series mini-series, that was Lucian's whole shtick, our boss, who's casting magical darkness and bulleting you guys with Eldritch Blasts.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's something I regret not doing more in this campaign, but it's also that a lot of the people in the party require line of sight, so...
Yeah,
there's that.
Sight is a strong tool in 5th edition.
Sight is a very strong tool in 5th edition, which is why Magical Darkness is a very strong defensive and offensive tool to have for a player or a monster, or an enemy of any sort. I hope that clears most of it up for you, Lublin.
Fingers crossed.
If you have any more questions based on it, and if an invisible creature is moving, example, a creature or stealth, B just moves, I think in case B, how would you know, in case B, you would know the exact location of your creature, of a creature?
No. In case B, you still don't. If it's invisible...
If it's invisible, then I think... And if it's invisible and you don't... If it's been a turn, for example, and they've moved from their original position, they've left no tracks or anything like that behind them, especially, like there's no visible markers of where they've gone or the direction they've gone in, then I think it's a bit hard to say, yes, you can make attack at disadvantage when you don't even know where they are. Like, you don't know. They've disappeared for all intents and purposes. Truth Seeker's whole thing in terms of being able to, if you can choose a square.
Actually, this is almost so I'll put this in the chat. This is the exact text from the invisible condition. their creature is considered heavily obscured. For the purpose of hiding, it can hide, and its location can only be detected by noise or any track. So what Raph is saying is very correct. The noise, but even then, noise you'd want, like, giving an exact location by square, I would not agree with.
I would almost ask for a perception check from the player in order to detect where it is in that case. Because if you can't see them, and you have to rely upon very fine sounds and tracks.
Regardless, I don't think
the combat.
Regardless, you're going to have disadvantage anyway because of the invisible condition. Attacks against the creature have disadvantage, and the creature's attack rolls have advantage.
Yeah, so I would definitely say, like, in order to, let's say they turn invisible and then they moved around the place, I would very much fall into the camp of saying that make it like if players would need a perception check to know where they've traveled to.
The point of stealthing is so creatures can't hear you.
Yes.
Like, well, if you think of it in a fight, an invisible creature, an enemy is not going to go, oh, I know exactly they're standing in this exact point on the ground based on the sound of their footsteps. Like, very few creatures have echolocation. They would know something's there. Like, the difference is they know someone's invisible around them rather than just not knowing anything. That's the point of stealth. Like, you wouldn't be able to get a surprise round, for example, if you didn't stealth. Because they know something's coming. They can hear it.
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Passive stealth, easy. You can use passive checks for a lot of things.
Yeah, as what Truth Seeker said there, in terms of hiding while in combat, look, you can only, in my mind at least, if you want to hide in combat, you need to break line of sight in order to do it. Like, you need to go behind cover, you need to go behind something where you can remain hidden and remain obscured and then stealth. You can't really stealth if you can mostly be seen. That just doesn't really make sense.
I think the passive stealth is a strong thing for if the creature's not like trying to figure out the exact area. It's like if they're leaving tracks, it's moot. It doesn't matter. But if there's no tracks, no visible way of indicating any noise, like as a DM, I would set the DC to be their passive stealth, and then I would say you can gauge that they're roughly in this area.
Yes.
Because like if you go into noise and it's like, oh well, they're only hearing based on my footsteps. What if the player just says, okay, well, I want to jump every other square? So it's like...
Yes, but then also, like, if someone has cast Operation Visibility on themselves and they have a fly speed, then would that be more difficult than if they were walking? Because they wouldn't be leaving tracks on the ground at all.
Well, at that stage, I wouldn't be calling for a check because there's no indicator of noise. Like,
well, there would be still noise through them moving through the air. Like if they're
maybe allow the passive stealth to be at advantage, which is a +5 for passive checks.
Yeah. In that case, like if they're like winged, there's different DCs. Like if they're winged, then you'll hear the beating of wings. Obviously, that's a bit more loud. Whereas if it was a fly, well, actually, it wouldn't be the fly spell unless someone cast it on them, and then they were invisible. That doesn't really make a sound. You just float.
Either way, this is a very meta topic for like players.
Yeah. Yes, somewhere around either of those two. I mean,
I wouldn't even give a square. I would just say in this general vicinity.
And then just like gesture in the area.
Yeah.
Look, it's generous giving them squares like that. No, that's all right. Like, I think that's part of playing D&D and DMing is having these weird rules and ruling.
Especially when the 5th edition's wording can sometimes conflict itself.
Yes. Yeah. But that's when it just really comes down to the DM in the moment ruling.
Yeah, honestly, it's an interesting one because I can see why there's like interpretation to it because like technically magical darkness and normal darkness, if there's no light, it should be the same. Because magical darkness is something DMs use to fuck over people who remind them they have dark vision every time they enter a dimly lit or no lighted area.
Yeah. So it's a weird like not argument, it's a weird rules situation.
If you want to get really into it, fog spells. It's not darkness. Yes. It's heavily obscured. Like that's when things start to get like weird.
And that's when this just turns into a headache.
It's like ain't no one seeing through fog. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Fogs is a weird. That's when it gets wacky. That's
the sort of spell you only drop as a DM if you've read the rules.
Yeah.
Or smoke. Yeah, like thick, dense smoke could also do it.
Look, magical darkness is if you want to screw over players with dark vision. You know, like that's when you bust it out. But
look, it's something that comes with experience.
Yeah, and honestly, fog spells kind of cool, kind of interesting to play around with. Not gonna lie, I even forgot that fog cloud and things like that were even spells.
You want to hear something fucking busted? Is have like technically like have it be a thick, dense gas. Put grease on the ground and then have something ignite the fog cloud and the grease on the ground. You could.
That sounds terrible.
You're like, why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
Because like, are there like
fog clouds have any interactions with fire? Like,
no, not. I mean, like, if you want it to be like a flammable vapor, exactly. If you don't want it to be magical, you can even fuck them over more.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're walking into a dungeon, you feel like you're stepping on some form of grate. There's a thick, dense, almost heavily green, but with a hue of purple smoke in the air. You can feel almost as if there's something viscous on your feet that's laying atop the grates, and you hear as if something from below. From the grates is dripping into something below, and it's actually just like, like oil, and it just fire ignites the gas at the top, ignites the oil on the bottom, entire room goes up in flames. Also, fun fact, let's say trap-wise, doors seal on either side, that burns all the oxygen in the room immediately. Suffocation rules.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's evil. That is evil.
Yeah, look, it's
DM trips.
I would never personally mess with the suffocation rules because that's traumatizing for players.
Yeah. It's not like you've ever messed with suffocation before.
Man, everyone's brave with their AC and hit points until you pull out you have X amount of rounds before you're dead.
Look, that's when people. Fuck. That's when everyone starts to panic. Like suddenly it doesn't matter all the spells you have to do with your HP, AC.
Especially because if you don't give them a chance to catch their breath even beforehand, they didn't have a chance to inhale, so they're not holding their breath. They're just suffocating immediately. I
had like 3 rounds as Calicinda to try and survive in that dungeon. I was like, oh.
Alternatively, imagine if that instance did happen, the room ignites. There could be an argument made to say everyone would take extra fire damage and perhaps lasting damage as their lungs burn.
Yeah. Which is fuck. I love that idea. I mean, like, I love it as a DM. I would hate it as a player.
Oh, I would love to do that. I'm definitely going to.
Just absolutely screw us.
How many times have I messed with the suffocation rules this campaign?
Once.
I feel like I've done it twice on stream. feel like I did it in Quentin Journey.
No, you did when Tarkin was burying people under the sand.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
When
yeah,
you
yeah.
look,
I can't forget that.
when you have to farm the trauma, it's time for suffocation rules. Okay, I have one more topic of LOE, or L-shaped corridor players. Run around, seize darkness, cast Ice Storm into the darkness, but Ice Storm needs to be placed on a target which you can't see. Per these total darkness rules, can you even send the Ice Storm in there? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could overlap it, but you can't put it down somewhere you can't see. Vision is such a strong tool in 5th edition. People don't realize it. As a DM, it's like your best friend if you want to have like interesting like map manipulation. Vision is your go-to.
Yes, 100%. Because that's even like a lot of AoE spells are like you choose a point and it goes to that point. If you can't see the point, then you can't target it. Fireball is a point that you can see.
A point you can see within range.
Yeah, and that's the wording that so many of them use, is a point you can see within range. Cool, you can't see it, then you choose some vague point on the outside that maybe, but you don't even know how far.
You also don't know if there's a wall directly behind it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what's behind it. You don't know if there's going to be something you want to protect behind it. So it's like, I think in that
if I was doing that pen and paper for reference,
would be
if I have magical darkness in a live thing because I have dynamic lighting since I do VTT. Your best friend in this situation, if you're a live table, is like cardstock paper. Overlay it on top of where the magical darkness is. Cut it to shape. Cut it to the range of the darkness, and overlay it on your map. Put it on top of it, literally just like this little bit of card. Drop it on the map. Players can't metagame, they don't know what's inside. Then when you want to reveal it, if you're using Dwarven Forge or something, it obviously sits neatly on top. Or if you're not using it, you just put the minis down where you know they're going to be when the darkness lifts.
Mm-hmm. And if you're using like still hand-drawn maps and stuff on the point,
that's what the cardstock's for.
Like, yeah, exactly. There's ways you can block it out and still create that.
It's a little bit of finicking, but the thing is, you have spells must see target like whole person. These fail, but if you can't see the point exactly, couldn't you just order Ice Storm to cast 50 feet away? No, you can't, because it says it has to be with Ice Storm. Does it not say specifically a point you can see within range? Can't cast it where you can't see it. Yeah, a point. Oh no, technically, I think Ice Storm says a point within range. So technically, Ice Storm you could.
That's curious because Fireball is a point you can see within range. It's a point you can see within range. It specifies that. That's interesting. So, okay.
Are you sure about Fireball?
Yeah. Let me just look it up. Fireball.
No, you are correct about the Fireball one.
I'm wrong.
I think you are.
Oh.
However, if my player was saying I cast it on this square because I out of character know there's a creature there, I'd say no, you don't.
That's kind of the point, though, is that I don't.
If my players are arguing this, I'm already annoyed.
Yeah, if this comes up during a session and you have to break it down to this level during a session, that's frustrating. It is, but it's still, given it specifies a point, you're not specifying a point, you're specifying there might be something there. Someone should have over there. But it's a strange wording of a point. Do you specify, like, yeah, because it's like, all right, 10 squares in that direction I wanted to go off, type of thing. Or do you actually have to see, like, if it's weird. I don't know. This is actually getting me now. Is the wording on this?
Look, I'd allow it, but I would not allow a player to say I cast it so it'll hit this goblin. And honestly, even if they're saying I'm casting spells into darkness, I would already say, why are you doing that?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Explain to me in character why you're doing that.
Hmm. That's a very good point. No, because everyone just walks around casting spells off and just like fires them off into the darkness. Um, I wonder if it goes off, if Ellie hits. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
My main issue
It's
is
one of these things
why
that
would the
just
player be doing this? And I'd be like, I would
yeah.
not. If they say I want to cast in there, and if I ask the player why do they say, well, I know there's a monster there, I say, no, you don't.
All right, suddenly there's a dragon. You just summoned a dragon.
That's just horrible metagaming in my mind. Like, that player's just trying to metagame super hard. Like, by the same logic, line of effect.
I mean, that's when you don't put a monster in there, you just put a trap in there that they can't see. And which can't be destroyed.
My main argument would be, why are you casting a spell into there rather than trying to cast... So, for example, the exact same argument. Why aren't you casting the spell or something to stop the darkness?
Precisely.
Yeah, if they hear something coming from it, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
If there's a goblin just vibing in there, just chilling, not making any noise, just having the time of its life, you wouldn't know to attack.
You know what I do though? If my player started metagaming like that, preventative nuking, I wouldn't allow it. But my goblin in that situation can now see that the people... Fuck it, I'm giving that goblin magical dark vision, first of all, to see through this shit. And then if someone's pulling that shit, I'm like, alright, he sees you pull out your spellbook, he attacks first, gets a surprise round off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that's fair. If there's noise behind it, that's fine.
Yeah, that's a bit more reasonable.
If he has an in-character reason, I'd be okay with it.
Yes.
It still feels very metagamey.
Yeah. If it was a little bit more metagamey to argue this point. But yeah, honestly, depends what your player wants to do. AoE, I think, yes, it can fire it off randomly with whatever consequences that brings. In terms of making an attack, though,
that fully depends if you have hitting cover rules. If you count them as cover, that's fine. Yeah, it would hit the full cover.
Yeah. It does say something character-wise. You hear a noise coming from the darkness, you just throw a fireball. Imagine that, though. Imagine just, like, waking up in the middle of the night, hearing a noise outside your room, just throwing a fireball as a result. Absolute paranoia. We went full borderlines with rules last session. Well, I hope that didn't... it wasn't one of those situations where going too far into the rules took away from the session itself. I hope that it was able to be resolved in session and with everyone happy.
No, it's an interesting one. If there's a full wall or something, again, the hitting the chair goblin, that fully comes down to if you use rules for hitting cover. Could that happen? Regardless, like, yeah. See, if it disrupts the flow of the game, I think that's where it starts
Yeah.
detracting from the experience. Like,
Yeah.
I would just
Yeah.
make a calling, research it after, and then rectify it if it comes up again in the future.
Yeah.
That's
Very
my
much
go-to.
like move on, keep the pacing of the game, but then exactly as you said, come back afterwards with the official ruling, like okay, like this is what it is. Hit it with that. It resolved with a long thread on the forums and me nagging at streamers. Yeah, look, sometimes that's what that's what it takes. But happy to help. Happy to help. If you do have any more rules questions like that, shameless plug for our Discord, where you can ask questions like that, and we will answer them anytime you want.
It shows.
Hey, Shaz. I'm running a pathological lie illusion wizard right now. It's very fun. That sounds incredibly fun. Tell us a bit more about them.
Wizards are probably my favorite class, if I was to say just one. Wizards.
Wizard? Yeah. I think wizards are probably my favorite.
Wizard or bard? Maybe bard would have a slighter big leaning for me.
See, it's wizard and warlock for me, which I think is an interesting. Like it's actually that's a very interesting. You're a wizard bard. I'm a wizard warlock. That's
I just like what bard can do.
Yes. Well, bards are fantastic.
Well, like you saw me in a bard. We played a game where I was a bard for a while, and it's
yeah, I did.
And I don't even need anything too fancy. I just give me College of Lore.
I'm disappointed I've never been able to play a wizard in one of your games. I really want to play a wizard in one of your games.
Have you ever played a bard? You've never played a bard.
I've never actually played a bard outside of like one shots and stuff like that.
Why not? Does bard not appeal to you? Is this where we finally differ on opinion?
No, I like bard. I like bard. I just don't know what I would do for a bard character. I haven't had a character idea that's come to my mind over others where I've been like, okay, cool, here's a bard character I really want to play. Which also just really lends into the way I make characters is that I don't even necessarily think of class first.
No, never. But like,
and then I do it around it. Whereas bard, I just haven't really had things that go into bard at all. I like bard. It's just that not one that I've. Yeah, it's just not one that.
Man, I've made like so many like theory crafted characters, and like Yavi, my bard that we played, like his nobility and like why he was a bard was baked into his story so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know. I just never have had ideas for bard that I've wanted to play so far. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why, Des. I will play a bard, but first up in your game is wizard, or maybe a bard, I do need a little break from playing intelligence-based casters for now. But if I was to play a bard, actually, that's interesting. I don't know what subclass I'd even play. There's like quite a few of them do interest me, which I think is also part of the issue.
I love the bread and butter lore bard. It's so good.
Oh, I love lore bard as well. Lore bard is still one of my favorites. Even after even after you've had so many other ones come out, I do love lore bard.
I don't like the Scanlan archetype. I also am not a fan of just horny bard.
Exactly. I don't like Scanlan archetype, which is I think what turned me off at the start when I first got into D&D of playing bards is that was a lot of like the stereotype.
Yeah, you gotta go horny bard.
Yeah, which I didn't really want to play, so that kind of turned me off at the start. And it was only a little while, like probably like a year or so after getting into D&D, I was like, actually, like there's a lot of other ways that you can play bards. Like, why is that the stereotype?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's actually one idea that I've had Truth Seeker is that I would love to be able to play a bard where it's like a story-based bard. That is their inspiration. That is their thing. Is that they are traveling storyteller essentially. I love that idea, and that is something I want to be able to create eventually. When I eventually get around to playing bard, I feel like I have to in one of Dez's games now. I do think I would enjoy playing bard.
It's
look, And look, anything with a hexblade dip, I will find enjoyable. I do love my hexblades.
Look at it. Bard is a good class. I am a fan of Bard.
Yes. Yeah. Bard is your number one. It is your number one.
It could be. Maybe maybe it's something else, but I don't know. I just really quite like Bard. There's just so much to it, especially when you get lower Bard, because you can get spells from any class then at certain levels.
Yeah. Bards are good. No, bards are definitely good. I don't know. I don't know if people just underrate them, but
well, technically, I think in D&D 5e, it's very common that they are the weakest 5e class. It's like the general belief anyway.
See, that's weird because you get people arguing all sorts of things about what is the weakest class. I've seen a lot of people say monk is. I've seen people say sorcerer is. Ranger naturally.
Also, I forgot to turn.
Whereas Bard, I think, is probably the most versatile class. In terms of there is a Bard for everything, and you can cover everything as a Bard. And then depending on the subclass, you can specialize more in certain areas. It is, yeah.
There's more room on Bard.
Honestly, I would definitely say it's probably one of the most.
Also, the problem is for the first few levels in Bard, you have no damaging spells, so that off-puts people as well.
I was gonna say, I feel like that off-puts people. Is that see, it's okay, very low damage, not worth playing. I'm ahead out.
I think your only damaging spell, first level spell, one of the only few is Dissonant Whispers.
Yeah, and Vicious Mockery.
I'm talking first level spells.
Oh, first level spells, yeah. I thought you meant first levels of the game itself.
Vicious Mockery also does no damage almost. You do that for the status effect.
Yeah. Bard is really good, actually. It's just hard to play. Yes, I would. It probably is one of the ones that requires a bit more.
It's like Druid. It's pretty hard to play.
Yeah, or even with Druid though. Even then, if you go Moon Druid, then you just focus on wild shaping, and it becomes a very different class to play.
True, but even within Moon Druid, there's the optimal things to turn into.
Oh, of course. But that's the thing is with all classes, there's optimal paths to take. There's always the optimal spells at each level to take that outweigh in terms of damage.
See, my main thing is why I love Bard is when I get the rare chance to be a player, I want to be role-playing always. Do you guys ever run a high-level campaign? Our current campaign that we play is every Mondays at 12 p.m. GMT +1. We'll be live this time tomorrow. Is level 15. We're on session 59 next week. Mm-hmm. It's long-term. It's going to go up to 16th or 17th level. And
we are currently level 15.
Yeah.
And we have been. And we're about to head, if you want to see combat at a high level, next, tomorrow.
We're about to hit a dungeon crawl.
Yes, we'll be hitting some combat more than likely tomorrow. So tune in if you want to see some high-level combat. Popping off. It should be interesting.
I think we're still going to have some roleplay at the start of next session. I think there's some stuff that does have to happen. I really want to run a campaign for 20th level. Do it as a one-shot. Don't do it as a campaign. 20th level, balancing combats at high levels is fucked.
Mm-hmm. Or else, honestly, do it for the last session, or the last session or two for the BBG.
Honestly, no, even 17th and higher is very difficult because 9th level spells unbalance the game. You have a level 9 group in your hands for level 6 max. Yeah, my max is normally 11. And this campaign was different. I wanted high level.
Or this one here as well. The stakes are high.
We're fighting a saint.
Are high. Exactly. The risks and the stakes are very high for this campaign, so it makes sense for it to go to a higher level.
You got some 24 intelligence at this stage. It's wild.
Yeah, exactly. We're hitting some big brain players, quite literally. But yeah, we're hitting very, very high level stuff. Yeah, as you said, 24 intelligence. That's the type of thing that doesn't or shouldn't really be at lower levels.
Could you imagine? Think about how far we've come, level wise and all. Just just everything. God, the amount of experience the Kingslayers, that's the name of the group, Kingfishers is what they name themselves. Indebted to a lich. What's your sweet spot as a player? What have you enjoyed playing up to the most? Because I love tier 1 play. Like level 1 to 5, I fucking love it.
I was gonna say, I have such a sweet spot for like level 5. I don't know if it's my favorite, because I do like the feeling of being powerful and having these high level spells and stuff, but I like level 5 around that spot because it's the point where it doesn't feel like you have to go into combats that are so outrageous or over the top or anything like that. It feels like very much you can get into these very smaller, interesting, balanced encounters.
Your sweet spot is
Where it
level
doesn't
4 to
swing.
7. Your sweet spot's level 3. Yeah, mine would be tier 1 play. All of that, and then alternatively after that, level
I like
9
tier
is
2
kind of
play.
like where my boss fights for most campaigns sit at. Level 9.
Mm-hmm. I do like tier 2 play. I do like tier 2 play.
Tier 2 is what? 6 to 10? Or what are the tiers?
I like that second level. I like when it hits into that. I would say
Yeah, 5 to 10.
long
So
term?
yeah, 5 to 10. Absolutely. Tier 2 is probably where most of my campaigns go. Heroes of the Realm.
Yes. I like it, especially around that level 9 spot. That level 9 spot, well, like either between like 8 to 10, around there. That for me is perfect. That is perfect. That is peak D&D. Anything over that, it makes
Well, like
sense
level
for
9, you get access to like so like your first real big boy spells. You get your first 5th level, and that's like your big stuff. Like
my only issue is that the way that D&D works is that you don't get access to a lot of cool subclass stuff unless you go higher levels, which feels bad if you don't get access to that.
Which is why I normally allow it to go to 11 if I really want to.
Well, I think it's a good idea, you know, like the way that we've even talked for this campaign here, like having the last few levels for just like the end fights almost. Like you hit them for the last fights. You don't have them in the build up for it. It's just like for too long in the build up for it.
See, my main issue is I front load our levels, and there's a part of me that worries you guys are getting bored being level 15 or something for so long, or level 14 for so long.
Look, but at the same time, though, like there are D&D campaigns that like go on for long periods, like very long periods with like one level up.
That'll be next campaign.
I don't mind it. As long as the game itself is fun, which yours are, then cool. Like, as long as there's plenty of things to do it, like.
Also, I suppose, even though you're
really
level 15, you guys are constantly getting new items and like artifacts.
Precisely, we're getting items, we're getting artifacts. That's one of the reasons I also like the keep as well, is that that's something for us to upgrade, that we can upgrade that's adjacent to our classes as well, which is something I like, and that's something I wish that Wizards did do a bit more, is in terms of having other things that you can level up, whether that's like weapons or armor and stuff like that you can upgrade and improve upon, that you can, you know, not necessarily
cool,
like
actually,
scale it with it, but like you can also put more effort
on strongholds.
Yeah.
Note. I've been messing around with the idea. I still have to check how mechanically it'll interact, but what for your keep, like your stronghold, like you're the master of the hex, but I'm really, really tempted to have the school be a first level establishment.
Ooh, okay.
Because like taverns, theater stuff, and I think an establishment that's a school, and let it be Zamani's part of her stronghold, so she'll have a like I think only one person can have a stronghold regardless.
Yes, but then other people can have parts of it, and they get the
Well, she wouldn't get like this, like she wouldn't get a stronghold actions and stuff, but she would have the benefits from having an establishment.
Yes.
I have to double check the rules because it gets kind of messy.
Honestly, that's something that I would say for probably not for new DMs, but I think for experienced DMs, having things like strongholds and stuff like that on the side is great for players. Just involving them in something else that they can work on as like a project. Personally, I really like that. That is something I've discovered I like in D&D, is I like having something you can help build up and grow separate to your character.
Yeah.
And I hope that's something that keeps on coming up in games, because that's something I think as a player adds value.
That's just something I have to talk to you about after this is done. Don't let me forget. Do remind me this.
What's that, sorry, Des?
Talking about strongholds, I do have to talk to you about it afterwards. Stream today.
Oh yeah, you're all good.
So
always get a stronghold and magically enchant it, because a magically enchanted home is too cool for school. It is too cool for school.
We use the MCDM stuff, strongholds and followers and kingdoms and warfare. Although kingdoms and warfare we haven't really touched on yet, and I don't know if we will, other than maybe for the final fight, because I still need to read it more. I need to sit down and actually read.
I feel and like we both need to sit down and read it, and then we need to sit down and read it together.
Yeah. Bardic instrument, if you get enough of them, you can make your home immune to any and all damage. Nice. The instruments of the bards are very good.
Yes.
The Magnificent Mansion spell is great, though. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love playing a character who's known no home, or has never really had a feeling of a home, and then they get Magnificent Mansion and it is their home. That shit's nice.
That's great. That is a fantastic feeling. Which is what I was disappointed that as a warlock I can't get it in this campaign, because I would have loved to have had it.
It's not a ritual.
It's
also,
not,
we need to talk about Kelsier allowing you access to a spellbook, because that means you have time to copy any rituals of 5th level or below.
It's completely slipped my mind, but yeah.
We have a lot of micromanaging stuff to do.
We have a lot of admin work.
We do have a lot of admin lately. I've been very busy, and so have you.
Yeah, and just scheduling. It's better time of the year, but still.
Better time of the year, but past few weeks we've just been ridiculously busy.
Schedules. Yeah. But hey, look, is it D&D if there's no scheduling and time issues between people?
Any Rex for a good D&D show? Watching yours right now. Based.
Yeah, they are watching.
Our previous campaigns on our YouTube, very, very good.
Watching yours right now. Finished One Piece D&D, Critical Role, and Dimension 20.
You should watch, if you like Strongholds and you like the more nitty gritty, like number crunchy stuff. I would watch The Chain of Akron by MCDM. I watched it; it's very good. I like Makova's style a lot.
Shorter as well.
In my own.
Yeah. It's a bit shorter. I think that they stopped around.
It's on hiatus for like over a year now.
Yeah. So there's not like a massive battle. It's not like, hey, watch Critical Role. How many episodes do I have to watch? Oh, like 100 odd.
But I would also check out our past campaigns. They're a little smaller. We have Quenthian Journey, which is 29 episodes. And we have Into Osiris, which is only 4 episodes, but they are 4 amazing episodes.
I would, look, if you don't watch any more of ours, I would definitely watch Into Osiris.
Into Osiris is great. Actually, I'm gonna go grab the playlist link, because I think this is it's all level 15 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
And
actually, I got to play a wizard in that. That was fun.
You did.
I have played a wizard.
And you got to say, at least nothing else bad can happen. And then something else bad happened.
Oh, that was terrible.
Iconic.
Also, I managed to teleport past an entire combat encounter, which was funny.
That was funny.
And then you just being there like, fuck, I didn't think about this.
I was like, I'm going to show you guys the map, and I'm going to show you guys the music I had, and you're going to feel bad.
But that's just high-level play, though. You can just skip entire encounters, being like, yeah, I'm going to teleport over there.
Polymorph, man. Fuck Polymorph. Can't have enemies that are just one person. But yeah, we had guests on it so you might recognize Nate, or you might recognize Josh from Corsair's Cove. I was the DM. That is the Into Osiris playlist link. I would watch it. It's very good. 4 episodes. It's a mini series, but by God, is it a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it
is such a banger.
There's how to put it? The Quenthian Journey and the Raiders of the Osgren. That's very good. Raiders of the Osgren, bit more dungeon crawl campaign.
I haven't heard of One Piece D&D, honestly. That's new to me.
Have you realised we've gotten distracted for an hour and 10 minutes now?
I have, Des. We have gotten so far off topic. We haven't.
But are we having fun, guys? Do we feel bonita?
Yeah. Yeah, are you guys having fun? Are you entertained? Because if so, we
This is
have
the
a
D&D advice.
huge-
Like,
Yeah,
I
look, we
wonder,
should just
actually, guys, would this be something? If you're in chat and you're listening right now, can you just put in your opinion in chat? If we just opened up just a stream where it's just like D&D advice, like just literally show up. We're gonna talk D&D if you have questions about rules or come to us with your problems. Like just a little bit of D&D school. 'Cause that could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, or if you just have ideas you want to talk about, like if you're a DM wanting to run a game and you're not sure about an idea,
Or if you're
pitch
just
it
curious
towards
about
us.
balance or
Yeah, exactly. Things like that. Would that be something that
Raph,
you're
let's be
curious
honest.
about?
we're could be, and I'm enjoying your banter. Thank you, Cypress. We're gonna just swap to this overlay because we're not typing fucking anything right now. So what's up? We got bigger.
Calminus trying to get us back.
Calminus, you tried your best.
I appreciate it.
Look, it's more just like we normally put out a schedule every. Oh god, I need to put the schedule out every Saturday. Didn't get to do it yesterday.
You forgot the schedule.
We goes up on the Discord every Saturday normally. I'm late today. I was working a different shift. I was in work yesterday morning, which is not usual for me.
We're too busy watching MSI. Let's face it.
Too busy watching MSI. But no. Thank you, Cypress. By the way, I'm glad you're enjoying our banter. I hope you're having a fun time.
Yeah.
But like,
It's
just
to have you here.
We have a lot of experience between us, so it's like we could probably just have some form of like D&D school, like come on, hang out, like just like where we just shoot the shit and just answer D&D questions. I feel like that could be fun.
I think I would enjoy that. But if people would be interested in that, because Des and I, we've got plenty to talk about. And we can, as we have before, just spend a few hours talking about random game stuff, D&D related, and D&D adjacent stuff in general.
So let's answer Calminus's question, because he did ask a question. Matara here, why is it a majorcratic state? What's their transition power? How is the magic controlled? Is it mostly controlled by the military or nobility? Is there a guild system?
So I can answer these questions for you, Calminus. Very interesting questions. So I ran through this briefly before, but the Mantarathea, it won its independence from Castelia, which was a theocratic state that controlled it, basically tried to enforce restrictions and a lot of heavy regulations upon the mages. Long story short, a rebellion broke out. It was successful. A new society was born out of, large parts of the territory once controlled by Castelia, by these mages who basically usurped control from a lot of other independence groups and areas around that and consolidated their control over what would eventually become Antarathea. And so, basically the society was controlled by mages, was created by mages. And because they created it, because they control it, it's very much shaped by a semi-democratic system of governance by elected mages. But it's very much mages first. If you're a mage, as I said before, if you're a mage, pretty good place to live. If you're a non-mage or a divine caster, pretty shit. You basically lower rung of citizenship compared to mages.
Pretty much.
So magic is controlled by the Arcane Conclave, which is Arcane Convocation is the word. Arcane Convocation, which is the governing body of Mantarathea, which also controls its military. And what was I going to say? That's thinking there. It is which is also made up of Arcanates, as they're called, which is led by the High Arcanate. The first one being, and the current one being, Laurentis Horathea. Is there a guild system? I like to think there are guilds. There is a guild type system, but for different schools of magic. They've almost split up into their different clusters almost within society, different schools, different facets of magic, into very much separate factions that exist within Mantarathea. And that any schools or academies would have these organizations just fighting for influence within them as well.
Yes.
Which is also a challenge, actually, to think of how a very high magic society like this functions, how it fits into the world without it going
Raph,
too
you look so
far.
handsome today. Raph does look handsome today. Hello, Hugh. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's it's very flattering.
Look at that boy.
I know. But yeah, I think that that sums up Pantera Fear. It is a very interesting part of the world that has just come into creation, actually, and the current stage of the campaign, it is still currently fighting its war of independence. So that is really only something that will come in probably next campaign in terms of the full state of Mantarathea. How difficult is it for a non-sorcerer to learn magic? As a wizard, for example, is it socially acceptable, or is magic considered an inherent thing? Is magic considered a living thing, or as a god? It is considered a living thing. Gods are not respected within Mantarathea. It is seen as very much the power of the arcane individual is what is important. It is
we appreciate the questions. Don't
worry. No, it's very good. It's very good. And you're right. Both of us are looking hot. Thank you. But yeah, it's also in the current stage of the setting of Quenthos. Arcane magic on the surface of the world and in many parts of the world is still undergoing a lot of a process in terms of people trying to understand it. It's still not fledgling, but there's not many schools that teach it, and so teaching is mainly done by skilled practitioners, taking on board apprentices, that type of thing. There's not really full colleges. That's something that's only just starting to emerge. So it is difficult for wizards because there isn't really a structured system of learning for wizards. That doesn't really exist. So there's not exactly an abundance of ways for wizards to come about, or for learned, mages that learned their magic. Yeah, is it socially? Look, it would be socially acceptable. I would say until there would probably people trying or who aspire to learn magic would be very much held in a bit more of a regard, but until they actually succeed in mastering magic, probably wouldn't be seen too highly.
The Blanken says,
I'm always surprised by people taking time to build.
Go on.
Sorry. I was going to say, I'm always surprised by people taking time to build their own universe. I have so much to work with, even published modules. Look,
I'm going to do a shameless shill here for a second. I'm going to do a shameless shill. If you subscribe to the channel or the Patreon, you get access to our World Anvil, which has all the resources you could ever need, and more so, to run a game in our setting of Quenthos. It's been lovingly crafted since 2018, with even some of the world maps going up on there and more to come. Even higher tiers on my Patreon will include battle maps that you need to run games in the setting as well, of various locations and even some of cities when we get around to making them. Eventually, the idea is Quenthos will become its own kind of product, and we've been working on it since 2018, myself writing predominantly all of it till about 2022. End of 2022, I brought Raph in to help with some of the writing. And because it is a lot of work for one person, and it's a lot of work even for two people. Also, just making sure we don't fuck up the continuity.
Yes, and when to take certain leaps of faith with the continuity.
Yes.
But look, it ultimately comes down to the fact that Des and I just love world building. We both.
Yeah, we're suckers.
I would say would do it as a hobby almost at times. It's just. At least for me, I just do it as a hobby. I've got worlds that will probably never see the light of day in actual games. But I've built them because I enjoy it.
Modules is something I've toyed around with the idea of putting on Patreon when I have a bit more time. I want to make modules to actually run within our world, perhaps on a monthly basis, because I do map making, a lot of it for us. I use Incarnate and other tools like Photoshop to make maps. And
also, I would just like to quickly shill for you, Des. Des over here has designed maps before in terms of commission work for people. So if you are interested in someone making maps, contact Des. They've done it before and they would do it again.
Look, I will do it again. But also, there's more cool stuff on the Patreon while I'm shilling. If you want to run stuff in our setting that's unique to our setting, we have unique races, unique subclasses, and they're all in the D&D December document.
Yes.
And even more to come. We've got, I think it's looking close to what will eventually be a 50-page booklet on our Patreon of all the ancestries and subclasses that are unique to our world.
Yes, we have got
that
some
will go up on the
very
DM's
cool...
Guild. It will go up on everything, and who knows? We might even do a giveaway when we get to that stage. Give away a few copies.
Yeah. We have done some very, very cool.
We homebrew quite a bit.
Cool homebrew stuff, actually.
Sounds highly unbalanced. It probably is, because currently here at the Elder Scribe, we prioritize fun classes and ancestries rather than balanced classes and ancestries. But as we get more playtest information from people who have played it and people who give feedback, we will perhaps make patches.
Yeah, especially for people outside of us using it in terms of that was to take off. Probably change it around. Because Des is also, as a DM, favors very dangerous and deadly combats.
Yeah.
So
Quintus is a very dangerous
classes being a bit strong. Yeah. So player classes being a bit strong reflect the fact that as a DM, we have a DM that throws very deadly situations at us.
I make you guys powerful so I can use all the fun books.
Essentially, yes. But yeah, we got some very, very cool stuff in there.
We got some very cool stuff in there. We got some cool stuff. But shilling over. Let's get back to our world building.
Yeah. Shilling over.
Is there any point in me swapping the overlay back, or do you think I stick to this, the big cams?
At this stage, probably not, Des. Let's keep it real here. But yeah, like if there's that's also actually another good avenue for questions. If there's anything questions related on world building that people have, that's also something we're more than happy to answer. As it's quite a daunting project, I feel, for a lot of people getting into designing a world for their own games. There's a lot of different things to take into account. Yeah. Which honestly, I feel like one of the biggest things that issues I've always had is in terms of how much is too much for players. Like at what point are you just doing it for yourself and the players will probably never touch it?
That depends on the player. I have some players at the table, like you and Jen, who will read everything I put out, regardless. Like some people will read everything, like even as DMs in the past. I have players that will like scrub all the info. I'll have players that like go down rabbit holes at times, and I have players who will just read like what's essential to their own story. There's no cookie cutter for them, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah. It just I guess depends very much on the players.
Very much on the players.
But yeah, what to touch upon now actually. We don't really have much time to do much of the world building side of things.
No, so we'll answer questions and we can talk about
people. Answer questions or just talk in general. How are you feeling, Des, about the next session? Our session tomorrow.
Well, I got excited because I just realized there I was reading Secrets from the Strongholds and Followers before we went live today. Technically, you own a keep. Raph, as Callisinder, owns a keep. But if I go with the rules to allow Zamani to build, like the school to be built by Morvis and I make an establishment, technically that school will bring in money because private education, you know. Technically I'll bring in gold per season, like a lot more. I think it brings in like 1,000 gold a season. But more importantly, at that stage, since you have two structures, RL Keep is now, I would categorize it as like an actual formal city because it's a castle now. It has multiple establishments. It has multiple things.
Okay, that's cool. How many hexes does that cover?
It's still the same, but it's just more like there's like reduced costs and reduced times for like upgrading your castle. Like,
yes, and I assume also reaching that point as well, it's taken a bit more seriously.
Yeah,
in regards to its position.
Also, morale and stuff for your troops, it helps with that.
Well, I would say probably like once we have the school, the upgraded keep, and then the dock built as well. At that point, there with those three things, it's
Technically, Callisinder could build a tower and get like not use the benefits from the keep, like the medium armor training, and use the benefits from the tower. Like that is an option.
That's true.
which gives you
That's true.
spellcrafting
That's true.
stuff.
Yeah,
Or you could build a temple,
that's.
which is pretty
I
cool.
want to look into that a bit more because I would like to be able to build a temple.
Problem with strongholds, I just have to throw.
What's that?
Think of the freedom. Anything, anywhere, anytime, and there's nothing Elminister can say about it. Exactly. That's what. Honestly, that's why I made mine. I was like, you know what? It seems like too much work to read a full module. What if I just write an entire universe myself?
I don't have time to read when I can write.
Exactly. It's no, modules never appealed to me.
Yeah, I can't say they have really appealed. Like, I think using a module as inspiration, but like
The absolute hypocrisy out of me
actually
when I
using
write a
one, I don't know.
Quenthian module.
You have to call it a Quinthian module.
The first one will definitely be called that. Exactly, me too.
It has to be.
Exactly.
It has to be.
How are you today, Frankta? How are you keeping? Having a good day, I hope, on this lovely Sunday?
How you going, Frank?
But how do you feel about possibly owning a castle?
Very excited. I love this side of the
Like,
game,
obviously,
honestly.
you, for example, Zamani would be able to get benefits of the establishment, but not benefits of like a stronghold because it is your stronghold. You are the Tony Stark of the Avengers Tower.
I am there.
Because like,
and why does that suit Calicindia?
it does. Technically, the establishment's not going to give any extra morale, but it will. It brings in money. That's the unique thing about the establishment. Obviously, I've been nice and I've given you like serfs and stuff as well, so you get like a little bit of tax. But
I'm well. Hope you guys are 2-2. Just a night of world building sins. Ooh, wait. Do you mean that you did like world building sins as in things you're not meant to do, or did you like world build sins in your world? Either
most
way,
important about world building, tax and policy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Taxation policy is everything.
Me and Raph literally sit down for his keep, Ariel keep, and we talk about the tax income he will make for his keep per season, and what he can do with the funds. It's like a 4X game where it's like, what can you do with your money?
Nations rise and fall on their taxation. It's important to go through it.
Yeah, I think when you guys finally have an establishment and your keep gets to like tier 2 and you'll have incentivized housing, I will officially make Ariel a town. Although I'm curious, would Calicindia want to rename the town so it's Ariel Keep, but the town of?
Oh, yeah, be like a Calicindiaville. Calicindia town.
I was playing around with AI and things got way out of hand, and now there's a whole thing. Oh no, AI is such a useful tool to help when you are in a rut and you just need to like get a couple of ideas shot at you so you can pick one and move. I find it very helpful to just aid me in my writing. Or names, getting stuff translated into Elvish and stuff. Very helpful.
I would say Elvish translations. Yeah, that's where it comes into use.
It's a very useful tool. It's a tool I never thought I would have used, and then started using it, and it's just invaluable.
So I'm just looking. What do I get?
What do you get for what?
Just in terms of changing my keep around.
So you're using a tower instead of a keep. Your regional effects would stay pretty much the same, but so for example, one person can only get the benefit of one structure at a time. So you can either get the benefits from the keep, or you can get the benefits from the tower, or the benefits from the establishment.
Right.
Or who knows? I might just scrap that and let you have it all.
Wait, what? AI calculated 5 Balers plus 60 other demons is an appropriate encounter.
Look, AI just sometimes doesn't. Look, Wizards also doesn't understand balance, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's stupid. I love that though. I love that. Throw that a level 20 party and see how they go.
Look, depending on some items they could do. But yeah, Raph, I can read you the bit if you want.
Them to disappear.
Where is it going?
So what does having a keep do for me that a tower wouldn't, and vice versa?
So for a keep, you get your training. So your light armor training, your medium armor training,
Ah,
versus the tower, for example,
ah.
would be you would get inventing the spell research feature.
And so what did I take as my training?
You took medium armor training.
I did take medium armor training?
Yeah.
Hang on. Why have I never actually factored that into anything?
I think you get like
I
an
just
extra 5 feet of movement that doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
Yeah, I get 5, so I move 35 and I don't provoke opportunity attacks.
So here's what
That's
the thing.
really useful.
Okay, one sec.
I feel like an idiot now.
A castle cannot contain multiple of the same type of stronghold. If you build a castle with 2 towers, for instance, you can only one of them grants the benefit of a spell research. Also, a stronghold's benefit only applies to one character at a time. A character can switch between which stronghold benefits they receive, taking an extended rest. So you could swap to the tower. That's my understanding is swap from tower to, or maybe it means like the full thing of like Warlock's Fane versus thing, but I don't think it does.
I want to create a tower now. Des?
Yeah.
I want to be able to research spells. I want to be able to create.
Yeah, it doesn't do
spells.
math. It just predicts what the next number will be.
Also, I do like the idea of the establish in terms of Zamani having the establishment. I think that's very.
We should be able to gather rumors and
fitting.
stuff and get like technically one thing that you can do is you can buy units with your keep, which is something we've kind of not mechanically talked about, but like
that's something we can do there.
Well, no, but you have bought
right,
units.
no.
You paid for mercenaries.
I have bought units. Yeah, that's true. I have bought units. The temple. What do I get for the temple?
Servitors. I think regular servitors.
Interesting.
I think anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Tower. Let's go to temple.
You can the concordance chart. Yeah, you can basically beg for help.
Yeah.
Petition your deity.
But it's much easier.
Bonuses. That's cool. Does the castle owner have a leash? Look, Callison is in a weird position. He's chilling between 2 worlds.
Technically, yeah, he has a castle in King Everett's country of Burton, and he is an ambassador though to the Starless.
Yes, he is a foot in many camps. He's got too many feet.
Well, like it's not that out of like he has been granted. Technically, he doesn't own it. He's been granted stay there to upgrade and stuff. It's still owned by Everett, and you pay taxes. It's
like it. Technically, though, he is the lord of Ariel Keep.
Yes,
but in the court of King Everett. But then he is not also. Yeah,
your taxes don't go to the Starless; they go to.
Yeah.
You have a minor nobility in Burton because you're an ambassador.
Yeah, too many feet is a problem we can all relate to. Exactly. Taxes just got raised to 220%. How did you know my plan for next session? God damn it.
Look, as much as Everett gave it, if Calasindir fell out of the graces of the king, he would also lose his keep.
He would try. Over my
he would try. But see, the thing is, realistically, Calasindir doesn't fall out of the graces of Everett.
No, I don't know how. Like, Calasindir would have to, like, unprovoked, just, like, kill Saladin or someone. Kill his brother. Or,
well, that's also Everett, the king, is trying to marry the 2 nations together.
Hop in, we're crusading, bro. Look, that is just Calasindir in a nutshell. Just come on, it's time for a crusade. Let's go.
It's bloody roasting, and I hate it, Bandit King. Yeah, it's kind of warm for England, Ireland right now. It's currently 17 degrees for me, and it's still pretty warm, and I don't like it. I'll be honest.
It's just 17 degrees.
It's a bit warm. 90% humidity. Not a fan.
That's that is spicy. That is spicy.
Is it humid for you normally?
For me, it depends. The weird part between summer and
it's 70% humidity for me right now.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
But yeah, like leaving summer, leaving winter, like those weird interchange periods, it can reach humidity. But other than that, not really. It's just hot in summer. It's just hot. Just very dry. It's very dry.
I'd prefer a dry heat.
All the moisture gets sucked up.
70 for you right now. 70%.
Ugh,
70.
that
Is that 70 degrees
sucks.
F or 70 per humidity? Yeah, 70 humidity. That's the same for me. Roughly put 1% off. So, what is that? What's your humidity right now? Or what are you talking about? Right now it's a 79% humidity for you.
It's definitely not humid though. It's absolutely not humid here.
I suppose maybe it's nighttime. That's where it's coming from. Hasn't burnt off.
I don't know like what that thing's reading, but it's not. It's definitely not humid here. Not at the moment. Definitely not this time of year. This time of year is not humid.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Is that real Russ?
Oh,
Thank you for the raid.
Realm of Russ. Thank you, Russ raid.
Russ raid.
going?
How you guys doing? What were you guys up to?
Yeah,
Let's see. Let's see what you're up to.
let's see what you were doing.
You playing D&D? Were you playing, prepping, planning, map making? What was up with you? How did your session, your stream go? Tell us what's up with you. How are you?
Good to have you. Good to have you on board. I don't think I've seen you around actually.
I don't believe so.
Oh,
Let's check this out.
but welcome.
Well,
Realm of Russ.
what have you been up to? We're making a map in a stream.
Ooh.
Nice. I am a fan of the old map making. That is something I do.
Yes. Desmond over here is very fond of making maps.
I do a few maps. I've been known to do a
Yeah,
map or two.
has been known.
But yeah, no, welcome on. We were gonna world build today, but now we're kind of just talking D&D and answering questions about strongholds and various D&D questions. I gotta change pattern in my headset. 1 second.
Yeah, we're good.
Raph, entertain the
about
chat.
an hour and a half ago. Yeah, look, I'll just regale them of stories of how we got distracted about an hour and a half ago. We got about 1 word into world building and didn't do any more after that. You derail things. Look, it's welcome though. It's welcome. Always welcome. I'm curious. You said, yeah. Look, we try. Confidence is key to know our shit. We probably don't know it that well, but we're confident. And that's what.
Look, speak for yourself. I know my shit. I've been doing this a long time.
Comfy temp in humidity in Slav Hobbiton. I'm curious about where that is. Slav Hobbiton.
Yeah, we world build pretty often as well. Realm of Russ. Pretty often. Kind of every week, or homebrew every week. Sometimes we do mini sessions, and our main campaign runs every Monday at 12 p.m. GMT +1.
Yes.
Welcome on in.
Never changes. Always
if you ever need questions or help with your D&D stuff, join us on Discord. Because we're a wealth of knowledge.
Yes. But yeah, welcome aboard.
So
I can't remember what we were talking about. I can't remember
strongholds.
Something. Strongholds. That's it. Yes, absolutely.
And you possibly losing it to Everett if ever you guys like. I say lose. It would be a war. It would actually have to come down to warfare. Hey, thank you for the follow, Russ. Thank you so much. Love to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, great to hear.
Also, if you guys are curious what we're talking about setting-wise, we're talking about Quenthas, our homebrew setting we've been working on since 2018, where I've lovingly written since 2018, and Bro Raph been as a co-writer since 2022. Just the end of it. And he's done an amazing job. And we've worked on many, many things that are very cool. We have a World Anvil, if that interests you. Subscribe to the channel or a Patreon to get something like that. Also, my microphones keeps breaking, so don't mind me shilling right now. We're trying to pay off new microphones.
Yes. Same as shilling.
I'll beg for money online.
Please, we need microphones.
Oh, so bad. I currently have so many like limiters on mine because it has feedback issues.
Yeah. The kind of continuity and consistency you get from sticking to the same setting for that long is great, isn't it? Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, we have had so many campaigns in it. It's been...
You build up such a history to the world just through in-game events, which as we've done, we've done time jumps between settings, different parts of the world, different sides of the world entirely. And it just really helps create that type of living, breathing setting that feels real. Even if like you don't interact with things from previous campaigns, always like the knock-on effects, everything that's happened. Absolutely, I love it. Wouldn't replace it.
Question from chat there, from LeBlanc, is, are there inherently evil races in our setting? No, technically not. The closest thing we would have right now is our gnolls, but they're not quite full humanoid, same as 5th edition, because they're still currently heavily under the effect of the demon that made them in our setting. They haven't gained any form of free mental, cohesive independence.
Yeah, but it's more that they're, I don't say, I don't use the term mind controlled, but possessed in a sense.
They're enthralled.
Enthralled. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. They're enthralled.
But no inherently evil races.
Change.
We have races that lean more towards law or chaos, or perhaps, but no inherently just bad honestly, races.
Yeah, in our setting, like, it very much comes down to individual groups, things like that. Like, it's not blanket. These people here are evil. These are the evil people here.
I'm late, but Russ right. Yo, we'll take it. You're on time for your own schedule, Ada. Let's go.
Rush raid.
Let's go.
Look, we appreciate any Rush raiders.
When it finally sinks in all the mannerisms and quirks he gave everyone else, and it becomes possible to myself. It's beautiful. We've been streaming live on this channel for just over 2 years now, so we've already let people start like figuring out our world. But we had like over 2 years that were kind of pre-stream, and it's for example, Raph kind of joined up with me when just before I started making this setting, and that's almost 5 years ago now. So
yeah,
2018.
Which is it is. You really get a sense of the mannerisms and quirks. Absolutely. And you just get so immersed in the world itself to the point where it becomes very difficult to play in other settings because you have to completely change the way you think and the way that you
I don't know if I could. Even when Rap has had the pleasure of DMing recently, it's weird because he's DMing in this world, in our world. Yeah. He's gone from player to graduating to DMing in the world at times. And then that's
the thing. Like, I could easily do it in a different setting, like one of my own, but then at the same time, I would just drag everyone out, or people watching that are used to seeing this setting, and to suddenly takes them away. But yeah, that's a very good point, Bandit King. The evil racing is very obtuse, as often dictated by what society they're in. If society thinks enslavement is good, then the dissenters of that society would do it surely. Exactly.
Yeah. There's more emphasis on cultures than alignments.
Yeah, precisely. And it's one of these things, like, there's no inherently evil. Like, yeah, these ones here are born and they're turned evil from birth. There's none of that. There's none of that in the setting. We tend to veer a bit more towards I guess,
question for you in chat. How does it feel DMing for someone who created the setting? How does it feel DMing for me when I got to be a player and I created Quentis? Like, I've been like before you wrote for this, I was like writing for over 4 years on Quentis. How did it feel?
As someone who's played in the setting for 4 years and who has read very deeply into the lore, looked a lot into the setting, and outside of Des is the person that knows it the best and who knows it very well, it still felt intimidating. But I would say it was more so intimidating DMing for your DM that's DM'd you for the past 5 years. That aspect of it was more intimidating, more so than the creator of the world, because I knew the world. Like, I know the world.
Yeah, you've been writing for about just over half a year, maybe even close to a year.
Yeah, and then longer than that in terms of just playing it. I've played in it for the full time. I've seen it grow.
Yeah, you've been there since it was just a city.
I've seen it grow from one city into 2 separate sides of the world, separate continents, wars, apocalyptic events. I've seen it grow through so much that aspect of it didn't daunt me too much, in all honesty. And I've asked Des so many questions over the years. Some of them have been met with you can't know that because you're a player still. But look.
Your first DMing was on stream.
Yes, my first DMing was live on stream, which is intimidating. DMing for your long-term DM was the most intimidating part for me because it's like shit. I have to do them proud. I have to do them proud. I have to make them.
I can see so much of myself in you when you're doing it.
Look, absolutely. You have. I would
It's
like to
really
think
molded your
style.
style.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Hey, Nelder,
and
how are
I'm
you
glad.
doing today?
Oh, Nate, thank you. Yeah, look, baptism by fire, DMing live on stream.
We play exclusively D&D.
Yes.
For now, yeah, we have played Vampire the Masquerade and we've looked into other settings, but for now on stream, yes. You just got back from traveling? Nice.
Welcome back.
How was your travels? How was your camping trip?
Yeah, Nelderberry/Nate also plays on the channel as a guest sometimes, so you can see him around. For those of you new here. There's also a comfort, I feel like, DMing for your long-term DM because they know that you haven't done it before. So they know how to be a good player at the same time. They know not what to do as a player. So they avoid that and they know how to help you as a DM.
Vampire the Masquerade isn't one of people like world building. Look, it wasn't set in our world. How goes world building? Nate, don't worry about it. We haven't world built a bit today. We got distracted.
Please, we've got very distracted, Nate. We haven't done anything. I think we did one word, maybe. And then called it quits after there and have just been talking to chat the whole time.
I'll show you.
Which
this is the world building I got done. There's a reason we're not on this overlay right now. We're on the other one because it's
shameful.
Don't worry about it. We had good conversations instead. We're hanging with chat. Great stream.
Yeah, exactly.
LeBlanc, can see you around. I hope to see you around more often.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for joining.
It'd be fantastic to see you around. Blame chat. Look, exactly. Is
blame chat. It's always on
chat for something.
When it got to the actual campaign, they weren't a good player and halted the campaign. Ooh. Wow, that's a horror story. Finished my first proper campaign with all new players, and it was so much fun. That's like the nightmare. Your DM's just like, I'm not DMing anymore, and then becomes a problem player. Oh no.
Yeah, that feels bad though. That feels bad, especially if they were like a long-term DM, so you kind of want them in the game, but at the same time, that's a really rough situation.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked. Not gonna lie.
After the things I've done today, it's probably a safe bet. I'll take that one. Look
Frank, you guys heard it in chat here. Today is Frank's fault. We got no world building today because of Frank.
Yeah. Everyone blame Frank.
Put me off running a campaign for like 2 years, honestly. That's fair. I had a very similar situation where I had friends that made me start DMing. When I first started playing D&D, it was, hey, we're gonna play D&D, and I was like, oh, all right, I don't really know what to do. And they're like, no, you're DMing. So I did that for them for like a half a year, and then I think I stopped playing D&D for about another half a year after that. I actually threw out all my dice. I was going to sell my books, but I never found a buyer because I live in a very small town. I didn't want to like ship them ananywhere.
Thank God you didn't.
Yeah, I was like, I quit D&D. I was like, fuck this game. Like, because like I painstakingly like started everything. Then start of 2017, I got into it because, you know what? I actually got back into D&D because of Fortnite.
What?
Yeah, this is deep lore. So I quit D&D.
Wait, I didn't know this. This is a revelation.
It's not a prideful story. I will say it when look, 2 subs. That's all I'm saying. I'll explain this story after 2. I'm only messing. It's because when Fortnite first came out in its beta in like 2017 or whatever stage was in 2017, I was like, fuck it, I want to give this game a go. So I found someone on like a Discord server, Reddit, like that wanted to play it. So I was like, I'll have someone to play with. And I joined their Discord server, and it was called D&D. And I was like, oh, do you guys play D&D? And they turned around and said to me, yeah, but our DM just left, so we don't really play anymore. And I was like, I've run D&D before. I guess I could, if you guys are looking for somebody, I could run a session or 2 for you. Boom.
That's wild.
Yeah. I had given up completely. I threw out all my dice. Like my first 6 sets of dice, I threw out.
I take back anything bad I've ever said about Fortnite in my life.
I haven't played it since, but still. And those guys weren't even great. I don't talk to them anymore, but they got me back into DMing.
That is a wild story. That is
Yeah,
genuinely a
it's
wild story. I never
yeah.
knew that.
No, like
Four
yeah, I
dice.
suppose I never think
Yeah,
about
four
it.
dice.
And then shortly after, towards like I think end of 2017, 28 since start 2018, but sorry, middle of 2018, we started playing together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through like a few different campaigns, and at one point I even got back into D&D so much that I was running 3 games a week.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot. I just ran one shots until last year, and then I got sparking around a campaign. I would love to run a campaign. I've hit that point now.
You're kind of running a patchwork campaign. Kind of.
It's running a patchwork campaign. But I would love to run a full campaign. I would love to run a full campaign.
Look, the dream, absolute dream. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once both of our schedules clear out, 2 campaigns running side by side in tandem. You running one of them.
Yep. Perfect. You run Monday nights, I run Friday nights. Done.
Look, something like that. Imagine that'd be so
something
good.
like that. That would be amazing. I would love that. I would love that.
Is there a good online playing group for D&D? You can find a lot of stuff is on Roll20. The finding groups is very easy to do on Roll20. That's where we do it all. Yeah, no, I only know Roll20. You can play Fortnite with a bunch of random people until you find someone who plays D&D. That's what I did.
I'm sure there's like
Discord servers maybe
stuff out there and Reddit's like as well.
Actually, you know what I would recommend? The MCDM Discord server has a thing for finding a group for D&D.
Checking that out.
Just more Eldritch Scribe.
Please.
Look, thank you, give me your money and I will happily.
Even if you don't give us your money, we will have to.
Yeah, look, I'm still going to do it eventually. I need a new microphone. I told you this. I'm shilling right now, guys. I've got a €400 bill for a microphone. Organized play online for the Adventurers Guild? There is. I've never played Adventurers League.
Huh.
It makes sense that there'd be an Adventurers League Discord server.
It does. I've never thought of it, honestly.
The MCDM one is very good. I think I've actually played a couple games just when I've felt like the needs for like pick-up games, one-shots. I think I've done it a few times. I think the MCDM...
okay.
I'll check the MCDM Discord server. 1 second. Yeah, there's the TTRPG looking for game section. Absolutely.
But yeah, yeah, that's actually interesting. So there's a lot of, I think that's probably a safe place to look, isn't any TTRPG, D&D related community. I'm sure finding people interested.
Maybe when our Discord server, you know, everyone, stop what you're doing right now. Join our Discord server. When we get big enough, I'll open up a channel for. Put down the Cheetahs and Mountain Dew. Hop over to Discord, join the Discord, and when we get big enough, I'll open up a looking for game server in the Discord. We will be this. We will be the utility that people need.
Yeah, and if there's genuinely enough interest in it, then
if there's enough interest, I think it could. You know, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. As it is something for like daunting if you don't have a group, trying to find a group as well, especially if you're not sure about.
Also, if we can moderate the community to make sure it's less creeps.
Yeah, and it's always intimidating as well. Like you don't know people who you're joining, so at least this way, if you see them around, you talk to them a bit, then.
Well, look, if there is an interest, I can open up the server when we have a few more members. Less creeps. Look, at least at the very minimum, you'll all be fans of the Eldritch Scribe, and that makes you pretty cool.
Exactly. Which makes you look. It does
and
make
if the DM pays for the subscription to the channel, you can run a game in our setting. Shameless right now. I'm shameless. Even using our Patreon for our maps. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Or if you butter us up enough, maybe you'll get it anyway.
Look, maybe you'll get it anyway.
Shameless Des.
Shame. That was really bad of me, wasn't it?
No, that was amazing. Never changed.
Wait, I gotta put a Patreon link in the chat. 1 second. Look, Nate, for you, I'll shill for $5. Or for free.
For you, Nate, I'll do it for free.
But no, it's look, I wanna try and create we're creating a decent community. I'll say. I think we've got a pretty cool little gamer community coming up. So, and hello to everyone. Access to World Level is very good. Nate is a frequent rabbit hole faller downer. How are we doing with our current uploads on World Level? We're a little behind, but there's lots more articles going up.
We are a little behind. I just need a little kick because I have been working on other things, other projects, and
yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming up behind the scenes.
And a lot of just work, and then just more real life work related writing to do instead that just has taken over. But I will get back to it.
Well, I can also get onto it a bit once I may have some time clearing up in my schedule in the future, hopefully. So we take
look. When that time comes around, we'll be very happy.
But Rob, look at the time. We managed to get distracted for an entire stream.
Yeah. It's been one hell of a good stream. And it's been great being able to talk and hang out with all these new faces in our chat.
It's been kind of cool. Thank you to everyone.
It's been really cool.
We're gonna wind down.
Seeing new people here.
We are gonna wind down. Round Russ, Frank To, LeBlanc, Tegan. Thank you everyone for the follows today. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the raids. Thank you so much for supporting our little community, helping us grow, getting closer to to our follower goal. We're trying to hit 500 pretty soon. We're only 27 away, and that's pretty cool. And we're trying to hit 25 subscribers, and that's not too far away either. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you so much for being cool little peeps that keep us entertained and talking and chat, for joining our banter and fun times. Our world building streams do normally last 2 hours. I normally end the stream by shilling a little bit, but it's on all of theirs. We put it in enough times now. I'm gonna drop the meme before it gets fried completely. The links are there if it interests you. We're gonna head on out. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you around.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See you, everyone.